But basically, he starts having a flashback from he's taking the girl's bell because she died, I think, and he started having a flashback where they had a past relationship when he was human, and he. Oh, well, that's a spoiler for what happened,
okay,
so I'm not going to say anything just in case you can't remember.
I forgot like half of what you said.
Okay. Ready to move on to number 8?
Okay.
Now you're reacting to a solo K-pop artist called DJ Frizz, and this is his song called Resist, and the animation studio is Studio Pivot, and then online it said that Ozeon was the director, but it says something different at the end of the music video, so I have no idea who the director is. So basically, he's an angel of death, and when a bell turns black, that means he has to take someone's soul, and when he buries the doll, it means that the owner of the bell has died. But when it was the girl's soul, he has to take. But basically, he starts having a flashback from he's taking the girl's bell because she died, I think, and he started having a flashback where they had a past relationship when he was human, and he. Oh, well, that's a spoiler for what happened, so I'm not going to say anything just in case you can't remember.
I forgot like half of what you said.
Okay.
What is his name in your list?
Ozeon, aka 1998 AM.
That might be like, he might just have different handles.
Go ahead.
Okay. They did a good job of setting the mood up, like, immediately. I mean, he's dragging a coffin. It's pretty obvious what the mood of the music video is going to be.
Again, with the textures, I really like that. It looks like the whole video was overlaid with the texture, actually.
I think the contrast in color is very interesting. They did a really good job with using a very limited color palette. Sometimes there's just too much, so it just looks it looks cheaper, or it looks less intentional, but I think they did a really good job of limiting the amount of colors they use. It's a lot more powerful.
I think you can see some of the style from that other video that they directed as well.
The way that they have texture, like even in his finger, like when he presses the elevator button, you can see that it's kind of fuzzy around the edges, and it matches the texture in the background, so it makes it look more consistent overall. Oh, it's very good special effects. So it looks like he's like a Grim Reaper?
Yeah, Angel of Death.
And the religious motifs, like the visual representation of different elements of the afterlife, are pretty interesting because they didn't just use the typical Grim Reaper with the scythe. Like that looks like it looked like a Catholic pope almost.
I really like that shot. It's like you're underground.
I like how they suggest a world like outside of just his daily life by showing the skeletons behind the wall. And just in terms of world building, it's nice to suggest a little bit beyond of what your character's doing without necessarily diving into the whole backstory of those skeletons or whatever, but just showing a little bit beyond his daily life makes the world feel a little bit bigger. It's just so pretty. Like, the lighting is so nice. Like, the shapes are so simple, but the colors that they used and just the quality of the lines and the shapes are just so nice. That's an ominous shot. Oh yeah, he's upset.
Here's the doll that you're talking about. Of the girl. The lighting scenes in the elevator are really nice too.
Even beyond the narrative, it's just such a nice world that they've made. Like they didn't really have to show all these extra people in the world. It's nice that they put a lot of care into the world building too, not just the narrative. Because they didn't have to show this whole sequence necessarily, like with the background and with all the people lining up to the hourglass. But it implies that there's a little something more going on to the world than just what they've shown. It's always interesting to see how like animated shorts choose to depict movies within movies. And so I think taking away the filled in forms and just showing the lines was a pretty intuitive way of expressing that this is a movie that they're watching. Oh, that's depressing. Bro, he just jumped. Oh no! Oh. Oh, okay. That's sad.
Yeah, basically when he was given the girl's soul to take, he started having flashbacks from their past relationship when he was human. And this is someone's theory. And basically he couldn't do it, so he jumped off a cliff. And you can see at the end the bell turns black, which means he died.
I think that theory is pretty spot on. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion. Like, it looks like all the bells are just symbolized. I don't know. It's like it's not tired, but it's a very commonly done like theme, or like an angel of death falls in love with someone that they're supposed to reap, yada, yada, yada. Like, we've all like seen the young adult novels, but at the same time, the way that they showed it visually was so unique. So instead of having, I don't know, like a glowing light for someone's soul, you have like the dolls. You also have the bells. The whole aesthetic is very nice. I also think the opening with the scene of him in the forest is interesting because it looks like, I'm almost wondering, since he keeps waking up and remembering this, it looks like he's remembering it because it transitions from the black and white to the color, which usually means like, oh, it's a flashback or he's remembering. Obviously, that's, yeah. I wonder if this is the moment that he was about to die, and then Big Box Angel recruited him to be a death angel? Because there's like, it looks like he's carrying a grave, so I'm wondering if this is just my personal observation, if he's walking to his own grave, to the afterlife, but then there's this giant stuffed animal thing that holds out his bell, or holds out a bell with a jewel on it, and then he wakes up again, goes back to work. So I'm wondering if this was almost first day on the job memory, and that's sort of what's been keeping him going. Like, remember, like, this is who you are, you're an angel of death, and then at the end, he forgets about the doll, so he drops the doll, and he remembers who he was before that moment in the forest when he started reaping souls, and then that's what causes him to jump.
So I think, like the other video that he directed, they have a really good sense of conveying the story. A strong background in storytelling and storyboarding. The story's there, and it's very coherent. At the movie scene where they're watching themselves, it's very sketchy. So it's like the beginning of animation where it's just like sketches and whatnot. But like, it was interesting. Also, stylistically speaking, I think the characters look a lot different from each other. Like this one shot right here where he's like all like very cartoony, and then she's like all like realistic. His animation style reminded me of like some like Adventure Time or something. Just maybe because it was like the dot eyes or something. But yeah, I really like the overlay of the textures. Yeah. And then at the very end. That was sad.
So next you're reacting to a K-pop group and a J-pop group's collaboration. So between a hip-hop trio called Epic High and Japan's genre-blending rock outfit called End of the World. But anyways, this is a song about love and loss, and it is called Sleeping Beauty. Sadly, I could not find the animator or animation group. Yeah, studio for this, but I found that the director is Kozuke Sugimoto. Not sure whether that was the animator or not, but that's the director.
They don't always animate, but probably was involved in a lot of like pre-production, like shot selection. So
okay,
yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
And
don't sleep, don't wake me up, don't sleep.
It's very pretty.
The characters are very stylish. I really like that.
Oh wow, yeah, right off the bat, this looks a lot better directed than some of the other ones I've seen in general.
Again, with the textures, they're overlaid.
Their character design is really crude, but the fact that it's very consistent and that the animation is a lot smoother than the other ones, it feels very intentional, so it's fine. So it feels almost like charming.
I really like the lighting. It creates a sense of atmosphere.
It looks like it was animated in a digital program, and then different layers were imported to a compositing program. Because the lighting is very strong, and there's a lot of like blurred out backgrounds, so it's a very shallow depth of field. Don't sleep on me. I think in terms of the narrative already, there's a lot of interesting visual storytelling and foreshadowing going on. Like the part they just showed with all the triangles and then the asteroid as the music slowed down. You can clearly tell there's something happening that we're not aware of, but it's interesting enough so we want to keep watching and figuring out like what's happening in this town, why it's so crazy. Oh, and the transition of the airplane going over her and then the butterfly and her disappearing. It's just a good way of it's a good way of creating interest without having him necessarily like having to animate him chasing her. Oh, and they keep showing the diamond looking building. Oh, she's a computer glitch. I think even though they embrace and it showed that he just like, oh, it was just a dream, the fact that they showed them hugging like with a shadow on the ground, and then it didn't show her up. It showed her whole face in the next shot, created some foreshadowing just in my mind. This is not gonna end as it started. And when she glitched, so there's our answer to the foreshadowing. And not everything's gonna be okay.
I think I might know who directed this, just from the style. And if not, it's very reminiscent of the person who animated the Professor Layton games.
So I guess now it's revealed that he's in a dystopian, post-apocalyptic wasteland that's, ooh, it's not real. All those people aren't there.
I really like the contrast with the very like light pastel colors with the sort of, when it glitches, it turns like grayish colors.
Oh, and I like how they only have so much time, but in like 1 second showing the glitch and then the rockets going up and the people carrying their stuff to the rockets and then leaving the planet shows sort of what's happening, and like you're able to piece together as the audience what's been happening in this town and why it looks the way it does, but without necessarily having to animate like this whole sequence of them leaving. It's just one shot, but it shows you all the information you need. And now it shows them running through the crazy world. First impression, it becomes more obvious later on. Oh yeah, now he's in a sleeping pod. That all of these people had to leave their city and are now in sleeping pods for survival. And the fact that she was the only person in his world after everything sort of disintegrated shows that they're still the most important thing to each other. The closing it with the same exact opening but having the glitch shows that, I guess it's hinting to the audience that they did leave the planet and now they're dreaming about where they used to live. And that's how they're staying connected to each other. So it's a modern Sleeping Beauty. They're waiting to wake up. That's pretty cool.
That was a cute one.
Yeah, what did you think about that one overall? Like, did you have favorite moments or?
I really like the lighting. Like I said, it creates atmosphere. And then I think the contrast, like I said, between the moments when he has her, it's a lot more colorful, and when he doesn't have her, it's a lot more dull and gray. I really like the use of just like these like random scenes where everything's like all clustered together, buildings on top of buildings. Yeah, and then like I said, the glitch scenes had a sense of like catastrophe. You can edit that part out or not. But yeah, I really like the style. They're very stylized, and I don't think one character looks like the other. So kudos to them.
Yeah, so I think this was a lot better directed than some of the other ones I've seen, because it has only 4 minutes to tell you a story about two people who are currently sleeping in a sleeping pod who have to leave their hometown with everyone else who lives there after an asteroid hits their town, go on this giant spaceship and wait until they get to a habitable planet, it looks like, is implied. But they are still mentally connected to each other, so they're all dreaming of each other, and that's how they're surviving until then. So they have to tell you this very complex plot in a very short amount of time with cute paper cutouts, or cutout-looking animation. But the people and the characters, the character animation, some of it's on 2s. It depends. They did a good job of making it look not super disjointed by sort of having like a watercolor texture, so you think, oh, it's paper cutouts. It's supposed to be a little wonky sometimes. So they had a good style. The lighting was really good, and the compositing was really good. So they did a good job of showing depth of field, which is hard to do with like flat paper cutout style without making it look super cliche or kind of weird. They had this like soft filter over it, so the whole thing looks like it's paper almost. The edges are white. It also kind of makes it look like a memory or like something you're dreaming, so it fits with the theme. They did a good job of using like storytelling techniques to create foreshadowing in like a 4-minute video, which is pretty impressive, by showing her shadow, not showing her face, and then revealing she's a glitch. There's some sort of tension that was created in the middle that just makes the video a little stronger. And then the cut from his face sleeping to hers, and then showing his face glitching, like, is a big bombshell for the audience that, oh, they're both alive. They're both real. It's not that she's a figment of his imagination. They're both just sort of dreaming of each other in different places. So I think that the directing was really good, and this one was one of the strongest.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
All right, ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Korean hip-hop artist collaborates with a Korean R&B artist in this song. This is PJ feat. Zion T with their song called Nabia. So this is... I couldn't really find any specific story online, but someone summarized it saying it's a man chasing a cat across different worlds and dimensions. And this is animated by Studio Pivot.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with some of their work. I actually think some of the American studios, I'm not sure entirely, but I think some of them send their animation over for cleanup. So that's a fun fact.
Oh, to Studio Pivot?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And then this also won the 2017 Byron Bay International Film Festival Music Video Official Selection Award thing, and 2018 SXSW Film Festival Music Video Official Selection.
I believe it. It was, I'm sure.
Ooh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. My friend loves Zion T, so let's get it. Oh, this song's so groovy.
I really like the isometric. Ooh, I really love this style. Again, with the silhouettes.
Already, the animation quality is just really good. Like it's super consistent, but at the same time, it's interesting. It doesn't look like just flat paper cutouts. The character animation is really good. I like how they use the spotlight to turn into this abstract playground. So they're not using a lot of hard lines like in between each form. They're just using like the blocks of color, but then they're manipulating how those look and using like optical illusions to turn like just the simple light into other objects. So like the light turns into stairs. And the animation on his singing is really smooth.
Yeah, I really dig like the transition scenes. It's very fluid. I think whoever animated this had a really strong background in storyboarding. The way they convey the story is very impressive.
And the swirling light transitioning, it's really effective because it's very smooth looking. It's nice to look at, but at the same time you don't have to just cut from one shot to another. And then him being scared of his own reflection, and then the camera flipping from the cat's perspective is really creative. And the forced distance between them shows that she's just out of his reach forever. And zooming in on the collar to the background in the city is a good way to show a change in destination, but also where they're going.
I really like the reflections that they're using. It shows like the speed.
And I like how the highlights are very bright, and so it's adding to a very simple way of blocking color in animation. So it's a very small addition, but it feels really fancy, so you're paying extra attention to the scene. And then they get to there's a lot of cool narrative consistency, like with the symbols and I like how they flip the colors, so they're colorful outlines and then black interior, so you know you're in a very different place. Or it just emulates like club lights, like when people have like the halo effect around them from like background colorful lights.
Oh, I really like the colors of this scene. Oh, the fish.
And I like how it mirrors his glasses looking at her mirrors how he looked at the girl earlier, because I think that's important. And then he goes back into his, like the weird trip falling through the different like rectangular frames and the recurring butterflies. Like, I think it's a very good way to combine or to connect the first third and the second third.
Oh, I really like the grain effect that they used for shadowing.
And if you look at old like abstract animation of like set to music, they use a lot of those like changing lines. But I think a few of the music videos tried to do that a little bit, but I think this one did it the best.
Okay, so we're connecting the end to the beginning again with the same scenes. Another good way of storytelling.
And I like how it closes the first way, or it closes the exact same way that it opened, but this time she's a cat.
Oh, damn.
And now that we know that the cat was actually the woman in the beginning as well. Yeah, I really like that animation in that one.
Both you and Haley really liked this one.
Yeah, I really like this one best so far. Just because of like the animation style, it's very fluid. I've always loved the 2D style. The way of storytelling as well. It's very coherent. You can definitely connect some parts from the beginning to the end.
So I went wild. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much cool symbolism. Anyway, but so the beginning when the lights are all coming up on the screen and then it reveals that it's a cityscape, I feel like that plays off a lot of like visual storytelling in noir and the genre of like noir detective thriller of just a lot of high contrast. The shot of the detective with the light coming through the window, but his face is covered up, just sort of adds to that. When the woman comes in, his glasses start glinting like they did in like the car. Like it has the same effect that the car did. So I personally think that she is a representation of his vices, or his like, it looks like he's sort of stuck in a cycle and unable to get out of it for whatever reason. It looks like he's done this before because at the end it clearly shows that he goes back to what he was doing. And this time she's the cat. So it shows that they're one and the same. And then in the part where he starts going to the club and drinking, he becomes an animal like the rest of them. So, and it shows that the cat is also part human. So he becomes one of that crowd. And when he goes back, there's the abstract sequence with the fish and the butterfly. And then it shows the heads opening. So the cat's head opens to the man's head, to the woman. And then she swallows him. So I think that it shows that they're not all different people. They're all sort of connected. And then there's a lot of interesting uses of different animals and butterflies throughout. So like they have the butterfly with the cat's eyes. Butterflies represent a change or metamorphosis into something else. Or maybe it's like representing like the change that he's going through as he goes into the club. And as he's going through like those frames, it's sort of his return into the same cycle that he's been going through. And then as it shows him, because as he drops through the woman's mouth, it shows the opening again. So it just shows the cityscape. It just shows him at the desk, the same way the music video opened. So I think that he's just going to keep repeating that cycle. And so I think that's a really cool way to show a lot of symbolism very subtly, but at the same time leave it open to the interpretation of the people watching.
Cool.
Don't mess on my tempo. 들어봐 이건 충분히 어디서 말하던 상관 안 할래. 사진도 찍고 아주 잠깐은 맨발로 기억을 거닐다. 그리워서 노래하네 나의 대잠들자. 나보다는 밤에 사랑을 했다 우리가 만나 고맙다 고맙다 또 고맙다 보내지마 초라한 말